I know you guys have been asking for an update on the Fellowship of the Fantasy Ring, our fantasy football league. We're going to give it to you, as well as some Week 7 trade targets. And, of course, Thursday Night Football returns. Right. So let's talk about it. Let's get straight to the episode.
Welcome to the FantasyLand Football Podcast.
Okay, Week 7. We are into Week 7. You know what's crazy is in less than... If we double it right now, then we will be in the playoffs for our league. Most of our leagues. So our playoffs start Week 14.
So in another 7
I'm already thinking about the playoffs. But, hey, thanks so much for joining us on the pod today. My name is Zach. This is my co-host, Badaki. It is Wednesday, the 21st of September.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
And by the way, we missed our 20th episode anniversary, which was the last one. So that officially makes this one our 21st.
21.
The 21st episode of FantasyLand Football Podcast. If you have taken the time out, if you joined us from day one, if you're listening to the pod for the first time, a big thank you to everyone who has continually supported the show. Yeah. It's been awesome to have so many people a part of this community already in our first year, Badaki, in our first 2 months.
Yeah, first 2 months, look, we're going pretty fast. So many people asking for help, advice, fantasy football. Just want to have a conversation about football. It's great. It's great.
Yeah, it is. We got a great episode for you today, but first we want to remind you that we do monthly giveaways. We just announced the winner of the OBJ jersey giveaway, and we've got a really, really exciting giveaway this next one. Everyone loves this guy.
Yeah.
We can't tell you who it is just yet, can we?
No, not yet. Oh, I was going to give a little hint, but I think that kind of gives it away.
No hints.
It gives it. Yeah.
Make sure that you are following us on Instagram so you don't miss when we announce it at FantasyLand Football. You can subscribe on YouTube if you'd like to watch the show that way. You can listen to the podcast on any podcast platform. And if you'd like updates on injuries and game days, follow us on Twitter at FantasyLand_FB. And Badaki, we just recently started a Patreon page.
That's
and
right.
What does that mean for our followers?
Basically, it's just a way to support the show. If you love the content that we are doing, if you love the fantasy advice that we're giving to you, just a way to let us continue doing that for the next years and for things, months to come. It's just a way to support the show. So go to our Patreon, patreon.com/FantasyLandFam. It's a great opportunity to show some love.
Exactly. Let's get into news.
What is going on here?
Need to know news. What is going on around the NFL, around the league right now? We're going to give you some of the latest news happening in the NFL. Firstly, bye weeks. You need to know about this week's bye weeks. Be aware that Miami, Minnesota, Indianapolis, and Baltimore are all on byes. This is the heart of the season where bye weeks are just crushing you every week.
That's right.
And I know for you and I, we both have Dalvin Cook in multiple leagues, and I've got Myles Gaskin I've been relying on, and it's bye weeks suck. Yeah, let's be honest.
Bye weeks do suck. That's the whole point of getting running back depth in your drafts or in trades now in the season. So we'll see.
Yeah, let's talk about this Mike McCarthy news. What's happening in Dallas?
It's just a lot of drama. A lot of people saying that he's not coaching. He wasn't adjusting to the game plan. There was just a lot of things that just wasn't happening. A lot of players have come out saying that they are frustrated with Mike McCarthy's coaching. He hasn't adjusted at all. He hasn't been teaching. He hasn't been a leader in that locker room that he's supposed to be. It seems like the old Mike McCarthy ways, really.
Yeah, very interesting. Obviously, I'm not sure anything's going to change for the players that are upset. They're not going to fire Mike McCarthy yet.
Oh,
no, I'm not saying as if we want him to be fired.
No,
either.
I think there's a high chance that he could potentially be in question already.
Yeah, I think part of that reason I say he won't be fired yet is because when you lose, is Dak Prescott their best player? Maybe their second. It looks like he's their best player after the way they played last night.
Yeah.
Or 2 days ago,
Look,
on Monday Night Football.
I think that him losing Dak Prescott kind of saved him. But if they would have lost with Dak Prescott, there would have been a lot in question. There's a lot of ands, if, or buts. We just got to wait and see what happens. Mike McCarthy.
Watch out for the butts.
Oh, boy.
Big old butts this year. Let's talk about Will Fuller. Apparently, and this is actually from a reliable source, what we think, right?
Yeah.
We love the person who reported this, but Will Fuller apparently being shopped by the Texans, and it's not just Will Fuller, actually.
No.
It is the entire Texans wide receiver core currently being shopped.
Very interesting.
A fire sale, maybe.
Yeah, it looks like they could be in a rebuild mode. Now that Bill O'Brien is there, they're gonna want to get a lot of decent pieces around Deshaun Watson. It looks like. I mean, he doesn't have a solid receiver number one. He doesn't have a good running back. He doesn't have any tight ends. Like there's so much that he needs around him. With that talent that he has.
You know what's crazy is. I know we're done talking about DeAndre Hopkins, whatever. But how do you surround Watson with this talent? Will Fuller is a wide receiver 2. He's not a wide receiver 1. Although he is doing really great filling in that role this season. But obviously this is why B.O.B.'s gone, right? I mean, he set up the offense like this. And it's just not has been a good year. Let's talk about Mark Ingram. High ankle sprain, will probably miss time, but we will find out more information today and throughout the week.
A lot of talk.
It's interesting, but
a lot of talk. A lot of questions about his evaluation, about his sprain evaluation. I don't know if you've seen. I don't know if you have read the articles that I've read. Saying that his high ankle sprain is kind of it is not as bad as it looks, but doctors. This is what the Ravens are reporting. Is not as bad as it looks, but the doctors are saying, oh, this is bad. So they're expecting him to play maybe after the bye week. He gets the extra week of rest. We'll see.
Honestly, I just want to see Mark Ingram sit and see what it looks like with J.K. Dobbins there. I don't know if we'll actually get that chance, but probably the biggest news of the week, Tua.
Wow.
It is Tua time in Miami.
Tua time.
He's officially been named the starter after this bye week. His first game as a starter will be against the Chargers. And this is super interesting because we've literally only seen 1 or 2 snaps from Tua in the NFL for his entire career.
Right.
But it's also strange because Fitzmagic was playing very, very well.
Yeah. It's really interesting. I think this is let's see what he can bring to the offense now instead of later on down the road. They're in a position that they're winning. They're over 500. I think that they are testing the waters. They're giving him this start against, a fairly good defense, a very good team, I think. And they want to see what he can do. Because if not, they can always go back to Fitzmagic. I think that's the thought process there.
They are currently 3-3, by the way. But so just at 500.
Just at 500.
However, obviously that's pretty great if you're a Dolphins fan from your previous
a bit early
decade.
A bit early, I think.
Yeah, it is a bit early. We had a lot of Dolphin fans message us about this, and most of them were saying it's too early. Yeah. It's too early to put Tua in. With this sort of injury, is it just a mental thing where they're like, you know what? We don't want this injury to be something that follows him into his second year. Let's just get it out of the way right now. Let's put him in. See what we have. Do you think it's a building of confidence? Because what happens if he doesn't play well?
I think if he doesn't...
That is terrible for your franchise if you're going to put him in now and he doesn't play well.
But I think that's the point. They're going to see how he does, evaluate him throughout early in the year. Then we can be like, you know what? To see if they're going to be in the playoff picture at all. Well, I mean, I personally don't think so. But if they get into a playoff... to be a playoff contender, then obviously they'll go back to Fitz, I think. Yeah. But if they are in a losing state, then, Tua has some time. He has some time to play around instead of just playing with the last 3-4 games of the season and kind of,
So, I think, we've talked about it as a football perspective, purely football, but we have to address this in a fantasy perspective.
Yeah.
Because this is a fantasy football podcast. This, for me, because I do own Myles Gaskin and I do own Davante Parker in a league, this for me is frustrating news. I am not excited about this move. As a Dolphin fan, I'm not a Dolphin fan, but if I am a Dolphin fan, I am excited to see Tua. I'm excited to see our first round draft pick. The people have compared him to a Drew Brees. I'm excited to see what Tua looks like. But as a fantasy owner of any Dolphin assets, I am not excited because Ryan Fitzpatrick is actually the ideal quarterback for your fantasy assets. He just throws the ball and he's not really worried about getting any sort of interceptions. I don't know what we're going to see from Tua.
I don't know either. It's going to be really interesting. Maybe the whole thing flips kind of where like the number 2 receiver becomes the number 1 and Davante Parker loses, touches, or even Myles Gaskin, maybe he'll get more into the passing game because Tua is a mobile quarterback. He can move. So
yeah,
depends.
It will be interesting to see how it all pans out. I am not panicking, but I'm scared as an owner of Dolphin fantasy players.
I was always panicking if I had Dolphins on my team, to be honest.
I was chilling with Fitz. I was chilling because I know what I'm going to get from Fitz. I don't know what I'm going to get from Tua. Now, could this be a situation where we look back at the end of the year and we're like, hell yeah, they should have started Tua. This dude is freaking good. Yes, that could happen, right?
Yeah.
That's the ideal scenario to happen.
Yeah. I think... Sorry, continue.
But I'm going to give you my but. Just the only but is I'm nervous. I'm just nervous.
Yeah. I think it was a bit too early for them to announce that they were going to even play him. I think they should have announced it the day before the game. So now the Chargers have time to game plan for Tua. I think that was a big mistake. In a game plan perspective going into your next game, you could have just had Tua practice.
You mean they should have pulled a Matt Nagy and just held the cards close to their chest and when it was time?
100%. All right, hey guys, surprise, Tua starting today. Then that
would have been pretty cool.
Yeah, the whole Chargers, defense is like, I don't know, kind of like with the Tyrod Taylor situation with Kansas City. Kansas City,
that's true.
Game plan for
it definitely would have been a competitive advantage for them and probably for Tua as well. But it is what it is. I think we heard that there was potentially people who let this slip into the media and they weren't happy about it because they didn't announce it to the players yet. But it is what it is. It is what it is. What can you do? We are going to answer 2 questions from the FantasyLand Fam community. We do this every Wednesday on the pod. We answer 2 questions, which we give you the opportunity to ask on our Instagram story. We take 2 questions from the community and we answer them. The first one from Noah Selby. And I hope I'm saying your last name right, Noah. Noah's been awesome. I actually love how many people have supported the pod since day one. Noah's been one of those guys. The question is, and I think this is a question that's pretty relevant for most people in fantasy right now because of Monday Night Football. Mm-hmm. Are we back to trusting Kenyan Drake again? I'm going to let you take this one first.
No. Period. No. if you have Kenyan Drake, you're buzzing because you either started him or you didn't because you weren't expecting him to go off. 2, if I have a Kenyan Drake, I'm selling him high right now if you had the opportunity.
A little preview of the trade targets.
Yeah. I don't think this is somebody you can trust. I think he just had a one-off game. We know that the Cowboys defense is terrible and they were down by a lot, so they gave a lot of opportunity to Kenyan Drake.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really the sum up. I
want so badly to believe. Here's the thing we were talking about earlier, right? In our group chats, people were like, oh, Kenyan Drake is back. Oh, look at Drake. I'm down to trade for Drake. And the reality is, Badaki, could he be back? Yeah, he could. He could.
I don't know, man.
Be back. But I am personally not investing anything into Kenyan Drake. I said this in a group text, and I stand by it still. I still would be more interested in a trade that involves Chase Edmonds than Kenyan Drake. And let me explain. Is Kenyan Drake more valuable than Chase Edmonds? Yes, he is more valuable. But when I look at a trade and I try to make a trade even and help both teams, if Chase Edmonds is thrown in as a piece, that makes me more excited than if Kenyan Drake was the main piece in a trade.
Right.
So we're going to talk about this a little bit later on the show, but we personally don't trust Kenyan Drake. And myself, as a Kenyan Drake owner, I traded him 2 weeks ago. I can't trust him yet because I've personally been hurt. I've been hurt. I have been backstabbed. I don't think that I can recover from what's happened to me.
Yeah, I think if we look at the gameplay, he had essentially one good run and 2 touchdowns. This is how I'm seeing it. He had a lot of carries for not that many yards. The chunk of his yards came from that.
I don't know.
From that 80-something yard run.
I think he actually ran really well, but it was the Dallas defense.
Yeah, exactly. I think that was a big part of it.
You know what? When you start a game 21-0 and the other team is fumbling constantly, then your game plan is going to change completely. Why do we think that DeAndre Hopkins was completely irrelevant other than the fact that for whatever reason Kyler Murray couldn't throw him the ball to save his life accurately?
Right.
It's because of the game script. I believe that this was a product of game script. Look at the games that Kenyan Drake has played so far. He has always had the volume in the rushing attempts. He's always had rushing attempts, okay? And this was a perfect opportunity for them to exploit a very weak defense. I think that I just can't trust it. I can't trust Kenyan Drake.
Are you starting him next week against Seattle?
You have to start him if he's on your team. That's the reality. Yeah, you have to.
I mean, yeah, you do have to. But are you starting him with confidence then?
Not with confidence, but I am starting him.
Okay, say no more.
Let's talk about our second question from the Fantasyland fam community from Aiden Conrad. Should I sell high on Justin Jefferson, or is he going to sustain this level of production?
It's a good question.
It is a great question. Really good question. 2 great questions on the day. Badaki, I'm going to let you go first here.
It's kind of hard to say. I think Justin Jefferson is a great receiver. I don't think he's going to be putting up these extreme amount of numbers every time.
Yeah.
I think the more realistic game was probably, I think his 14-point game or 15-point game a week or 2 ago. I think he either played Houston or Tennessee. One of those games. I think that's the more realistic. I think him getting these 30 bombs, almost 40, is not something that you can expect.
Here's the good news. His rest of season schedule after the bye isn't terrible. Green Bay is a pretty good defense in the past. Chicago's a pretty good defense. But up until the playoffs, you've got Detroit, Dallas, Carolina, Jacksonville. So here's how I view it, because I actually do own Justin Jefferson. I don't think that people trust him enough yet to trade the value that he is worth. Right? So I have Jefferson in the league, and I know that people value him, but they're not going to value him where he currently ranks as a fantasy wide receiver.
Right.
So unless someone values him the way I think he could produce, because it is a risk. Either way, if I hold on to him, it's a risk. If I trade him away, it's a risk. But if someone values him with that risk in mind that he could continue to pop off, then I would consider a trade. However, I just don't think people trust him yet, even with the big games.
No, and that's my thing. It's kind of hard for me. It's kind of hard to pinpoint my value for Justin Jefferson if I had him and if I was going to trade him. I don't know who I would want for Justin Jefferson.
It's almost impossible to value a trade for him right now. I mean, like, would you rather have Mike Evans or Justin Jefferson rest of the season? That's a real question.
I mean, with the upside, I'd rather have Mike Evans because Mike Evans is proven. He's known. He's known to be this guy.
He's proven to be average this year.
Yeah, this year.
Cooper Kupp or Justin Jefferson?
Cooper Kupp.
See, these are all. I'm not saying I'm 100% in on Justin Jefferson over these guys, but I'm not even comfortable losing Justin Jefferson for one of these guys in a trade if there was a package. So.
See, that's hard for me. Like I'm if I had him, I'm quick to sell him for a Cooper Kupp for a Mike Evans because I'm more comfortable, even though they haven't been. So
where's the line for you? More like a Tyler Boyd, a CeeDee Lamb, Claypool.
Yeah. I think that
is that more the line where you are at.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm going. I don't want anyone. Okay. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Okay. Awesome. Well. Thanks for the questions, guys. We appreciate you. And we're going to talk about Thursday night football matchups. So first, we want to tell you a little bit about RSA. RSA is our sponsor with these monthly giveaways, and they are the go-to for all things sports memorabilia. RSA works directly with athletes, okay? Directly with them. That way, they get the best deals in the industry. RSA is also the largest JSA authenticated autograph distributor and promises a money-back guarantee on all products. We love these guys. They've been so helpful for our giveaways. So if you do want some signed sports memorabilia products, we've had a lot of people DM us saying, where do you get your stuff from?
Yeah.
Shop RSA.com.
Are you ready for some football?
Are you ready for some football?
Are you ready for some football?
Okay, Thursday night football is back. No more waiting until this Sunday nonsense, okay? Thursday night football is back, and it's back with a
NFC
snooze of a matchup, isn't it?
Let go.
The New York Football Giants, Badaki's heart, at the Philadelphia Eagles. Man, does anyone want to win this division?
Look, we do. We definitely do. We are going.
Do you?
I'm not going to say we're going to win this division. After the Cowboys, there's a lot of hope. After Miles Sanders and Zach Ertz being out, there's a lot of hope. Right now, the only team that has some sort of a chance, in my eyes, is us and the Eagles, personally.
Okay.
Anyways.
I'm at a place as a Washington fan where I just want us to tank for a really great quarterback.
Trevor Lawrence.
Over under for this game is 44, and I believe the under will be safe, but don't take our word for that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Giants. Your New York Football Giants. Who are you watching this game?
Look, there's not really much to watch. I think a perfect opportunity for somebody to go off. These two specific guys for me has to be Evan Ingram, Devonta Freeman. Darius Slayton is hurt. He's had I think an ankle injury.
Is he hurt?
He's hurt. It's not. I don't think it's question that he's going to play. I think he's questionable leading up. He's very limited at practice right now. He has like a hamstring ankle injury. And Danny Dimes, obviously, we're kind of watching just to see how he performs, if he can protect the ball. But I think if you have the Evan Ingram, you're probably questioning, should I be starting him? I think you should. I think this is a great opportunity for the Eagles to kind of, or not the Eagles, but for Evan Ingram to say, hey, I'm still here. I'm still relevant.
Yeah. Yeah, it will be interesting to see how that plays out. I think for me, I think everyone feels this way. It's kind of a typical Thursday night football matchup. It's like, football's on. Okay, who we got? All right. The Giants at Eagles. You know what? I'm just happy to have football, so I'm not going to complain.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the Eagles side of the ball. A lot of injuries have plagued this team the entire year. So let's talk about it. The big injuries, as of now, Miles Sanders and Zach Ertz, both officially ruled out, which means that Boston Scott and Dallas Goedert, if he is back, because he is on IR, but he might come back from IR this week, will be great plays against the Giants defense. Yes or no?
Yep, I think so. I think that Dallas Goedert could be a guy, like I said, if he is back, you can play with some sort of confidence. And Boston Scott, look, the Giants have been giving a lot of, points to the running back position. I think they're a little bit better. And I think Travis Fulgham would have a little bit of a tougher matchup this week because the Giants surprisingly has been giving, I think, the 7th fewest points to wide receivers. So
wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, it was something. It's something I don't have.
You guys spent a lot of money in free agency on cornerbacks, didn't you? You got was it Logan Ryan?
James Bradbury. We have a lot of good talent out there. We have Xavier McKinney still on.
I like to call him James Burberry. I don't even know why. I just I honestly don't know why, but
yeah. So
he was supposed to sign with Washington. All this talk about
there was a lot of talks. I'm glad we got him finally. We needed some help there, but I think these guys are gonna have a tough day. Because like I said, we actually been doing pretty decent against the wide receivers. So we'll see what happens. You never know. It's always the Giants, though. They can always do something stupid. Someone gets hurt, and then
they're good at that.
Yeah, classic.
The whole NFC East is pretty good at doing something stupid. Let's be honest. It will be a game to watch. I was gonna say an exciting game, but I'm not sure how excited I am at this point. Just someone please be good in the NFC East so we can stop being the laughingstock of the NFL.
Yeah.
Please.
Honestly.
Please. Let's talk about our fantasy football league. Let's give you an update on the league.
What's better than this? Guys being dudes.
Let's talk about the guys in our fantasy football league, the Fellowship of the Ring, or we are now calling it the Ring for short. Hey, have you had a chance to get to know the guys in our fantasy football league yet? If you haven't, head to our Instagram. There's a story highlight that says the owners, and you'll be able to see a player profile for every single player in our league. And we also talk about these guys pretty consistently. We show their trades. We show any sort of drama that happens in the league. But let's talk about an update from this week. The highest scorer after losing Dak Prescott, Brandon Baca with 148 points, 148 plus points. He started Kirk Cousins, and it did not look good in first, 3 quarters, and then something turned around.
Classic Kirk, though, 1. 2, this is a huge surprise.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. Huge surprise by him.
It is a huge surprise. Brandon Baca, or his team name, the Tampa England Patrioteers, has been probably the surprise of the year thus far, sitting at 4-2. And what can you do other than give props to Baca? It will be cool to see how this holds up the rest of the year. And the lowest scorer, I'm sorry, Bricks, Tommy, your boy Bricks, Bockley, with just 56 points on the week.
Oh, no.
His team name ain't nothing but a Jimmy G thing. Under 56 points. And, oh my goodness, to say he was unlucky is the biggest understatement. Let me take you through his roster right quick, okay?
All right.
Aaron Rodgers.
GG's.
Kareem Hunt.
GG's.
Davante Adams.
Unlucky.
Allen Robinson. I mean, some of these guys could have put up 50 points on their own, and somehow he finishes the week with just 56 points. It's honestly, Bricks is one of those people you want to see win, right?
100%. This is his first year in the league, and I think he has a talented team. He's been hurt with injuries. I think he made a couple questionable trades, but he has 2 top receivers with Detective Adams and Allen Robinson. He just hurts in the running back position. Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe he can make a trade for somebody good.
Every week we give you a weekly recap from the guys. We get to hear from them. So let's take you through the week 6 recap.
What's happening, guys?
What's going on, Fantasyland? It's JB, aka Dirty Mike, and the boys here.
It's your boy Wesley.
What's up, boys?
Yo, what up? It's Dickie here, reflecting on week 6.
Another loss. Look, 2-4. It's not the position I wanted to be in.
Worst week I've ever had. Had a great team. Probably the strongest
I could think of.
A tough week in fantasy.
Another great week for my team, 4-2, and that's huge.
I started some great people, and none of them got half of what I expected.
Literally no one performed.
It is what it is, and just moving on forward from here.
You came up against a king this week, and that king was Derrick Henry. What a player Joe's got on his hands there.
King Henry, Derrick Henry, he showed up and showed out.
Not a whole lot you can do about it.
Jay Wez is one of these. He does these, and I just did this. And that's how we're going to do it. That's how we're going to win.
Mark Andrews, 2 points. Come on, get better.
I started Rodgers from Green Bay. Horrible.
Hopefully, Juju can perform a little bit better than giving me 2 points.
I was going to start Naeem Hines, but I decided to start Swift instead, and obviously has paid off.
All I want you guys to do this week is replay my recap from 3 weeks ago. I was 0-3. I said I'd be coming back. Now I'm 3-3. No update needed. Charging.
Looking to come back stronger next week.
Matched up with Brendan Barker next week, so hopefully get a win.
Really, really happy. Like, this is great to be 4-2.
Feel confident about next week. Steve had a horrible week like me.
Looking forward to another W. I'll tell you about it next week. Same time, same place.
Looking forward to week 7.
Looking forward to week 7. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
For
boy.
those who were not able to watch on YouTube, if you're listening, Joe Dickow says Wesley likes to do this. And he was motioning with his hands that Wes likes to talk. And I think it's true, actually. Wes does like to talk.
Wes is all talk.
But Joe was saying, I do the walk. You know, Wesley is a little bit of a talker, isn't he?
Yeah, he's... excuse me. He just talks. It's his first year. It's funny. He knows a lot. Think he's just a lot of talk. All I'm saying is that I'm undefeated. If you want to make a trade, I can lose. I'm willing to lose this week because I mean, Dobbins on the bye
this week. Yeah, we are playing each other this week. Actually,
yes. We are playing each other.
The co-hosts are playing each other in week 7. Myself and Badaki will square off. Obviously, each week we give an update on the league, so you'll be able to see how each player performed.
Yeah.
We just posted an update on our league from this week on our Instagram. So go have a look. You can see how each team played, the points that they put up, and the current standings of the league. But let's go through the league rankings quickly. I want to highlight a couple areas. Brandon Baca sitting at 2nd. Surprise.
This is a huge surprise. I think it's just purely luck.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, right? What is fantasy other than some good guessing and luck,
Honestly,
right?
It's actually crazy. Like his team, I think somebody that I wasn't expecting to go off on his team was Robbie Anderson. I think that was the biggest piece in his team that has been going off that he's picked up that no one has expected to go off. He got Robbie Anderson and Jonnu Smith.
Yeah. Jonnu Smith's been a great pickup for him. Joe sitting at 2nd. He's been consistent. Or is that JB? JB's at 2nd. JB sitting at 2nd. We're not surprised by JB anymore.
Wait.
He's not surprised.
Baca's sitting at 2nd.
Oh, sorry, 3rd. JB's at 3rd.
Like,
Joe is at 4th. And Joe's been consistent. Sam Green is in 5th. He's in the playoff picture after starting 0-3.
Wow.
Finds himself in the playoff picture today.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, this is where we all expected Sam to be at least in a position to get himself into the playoffs. I mean, hopefully he can win. I don't know who he plays this week, but it's probably not that.
Playoffs? What are you talking about? Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
And the last person in the playoff picture right now is myself. If the season were to end today, I gave Daniel Elliot his first win. Feels great. I said this last week on the pod. I feel like every time someone wants to just have their best week of the year so far, they decide to go up against me. And Deshaun Watson decide, hey, I'm actually a great football player. And look, it's a lot of complaining from me, I'll be honest. But let's look at 7 through 12 quickly. Steve, he's got no running backs. And he doesn't want to trade. It is what it is, right? 8, Wesley. You wrote this down. Wesley is where he belongs. Why did you say that?
He's just all talk. He like you said earlier. Joe said it. He's all talk. Is where he needs to be. Wesley has. You know, he did a really dumb trade early in the season. Point blank. Period. That's all I gotta say.
Okay. And at 9, we got Elijah, 10, Luke, 11, Elliot with his first win, and 12th is Tommy has been very unlucky this year. If you want to see the complete rankings, head to our Instagram. You'll be able to see the rankings there. But every Wednesday, we give you some trade targets for the week. So let's talk about it.
To trade this dude and don't even get a first-round pick, it's damn near a fireable offense. Clearly because of emotion, because it makes no football sense whatsoever.
Trade targets. Each week, we give you some trade targets that we want you, or not want you to, but we would advise to trade for and trade away. So let's talk about this quickly just to set this segment up. When we tell you to trade someone away, we always have to say this because the list is always a little bit controversial. When we tell you to trade someone away, we are not telling you to get nothing for them. Right. We always love to sell high and buy low. So that means when we're telling you to trade for someone, we're not telling you to give up the world for them, but probably there's some opportunities to get them on the cheap. So, Badaki, why don't you start us off with our first trade for target?
That's right. Look, this one specifically is if you're in the position to trade for him. I think somebody like this is a great opportunity for someone like me that is 6-0 that I can kind of sit on a running back to kind of get him in when he comes back healthy.
Yeah.
I can plug him in, and that guy is Miles Sanders. Obviously, he has an ankle sprain. He'll be out 1 to 2 weeks. It looks like he's probably not going to come back after his bye week because he's playing the Giants, obviously, Thursday, and then Dallas next Sunday on week 8. And then he has a bye week 9. And then he comes back to New York at week 10. So there's a lot of great opportunity for Miles Sanders if you need a running back, if you're struggling with running backs, if you are in a position to sit on a running back. I think Miles Sanders is a great trade for target this week.
I like it. I think, like you said, you have to be in a position where you can trade for him.
Yeah.
If you need running backs right now, a lot of people do. This is not your trade target, is it?
No. I think you can trade away somebody that you don't necessarily... I don't know. I'm trying to think of like somebody like Steve that doesn't have any... A great example, Steve had Alvin Kamara on the bye, and then he had Devin Singletary. He had no other running backs. He didn't even have a backup.
Yeah.
You can, maybe if somebody that is in this opportunity, in this position like Miles Sanders, and only has now one running back, maybe you can trade him a running back for a couple weeks, and then, sell him, get him on the low, essentially.
Yep. Okay, my first trade for target, and let me set this up because I hadn't originally planned to have this guy as my trade for target.
Right.
But then we got a DM from someone saying, I'm currently being offered Mike Evans for Ezekiel Elliot. And I said, no way, man. If you're giving up Zeke, there's no way Mike Evans is a fair enough value for a player like Zeke. And he said, no, I'm receiving Ezekiel Elliot. So, here's the reason I'm bringing this up. Because there's obviously people out there who are worried about Ezekiel Elliott. Right? We've seen it already in our DMs. His last game was probably one of the worst games he's ever had as a professional running back. 12 points. And, the 12 points are okay, but the way he played was not good. 2 fumbles.
Yeah.
And both of those fumbles were crushing to the Cowboys.
Yes.
Right? They just took them out of the game completely. Now, the Cowboys game planned to have Zeke as the featured player in their offense. And I think Zeke is the type of player where that's not going to change because of one bad game.
Right.
That game plan is not going to change. They're not going to be like, oh, you know what, Andy Dalton, just do what Dak did and just chuck the ball all over the field and scramble for some first downs. They genuinely need Zeke to actually have a chance at winning this division. This is his worst game of the year. He is an elite talent. You drafted him probably with the 3rd overall pick in the draft. Find an owner in your league who is panicking on Zeke. I would love to have Zeke on my team because I believe he's a great running back.
Yeah.
And I think what you have to know, though, when you're trading for Zeke is you're probably not trading for the 25, 30-point games anymore. I don't know how realistic that is anymore. But you are trading for the 18 to 22 point games on a consistent basis.
Right.
And that's the type of player that I want in my team. I want someone who's consistent like that. So for me, he's a great buy low candidate for someone who might be panicking.
Yeah, I think so as well. I actually have Zeke. I've actually sent a couple offers earlier today before we were actually recording.
You didn't send me none.
Nah, I kind of wanted to test the waters. Look, I still think Zeke is the guy. I still think that they're gonna go through him. I'm just shopping. I'm trying to get a vibe.
Yeah, well, I just want to let you know that my DMs are open, brother.
Easy. You send me a trade after this.
Okay.
I'm just looking at his schedule right now, and I'm just looking at the playoffs.
He's in the NFC East, so it's probably a pretty good schedule.
Cincinnati, San Fran, Philly in his playoff picture. If you were in a playoff picture for fantasy, 14, 15, 16. I still like those odds.
I think that's honestly good.
Yeah,
I think that's good because
I
don't
it.
think SF is the defense we thought it was, and
No.
Cincinnati's a smash start. Philly is hit or miss. So
I think if you
like
have
it.
Zeke, definitely shop him. See what people are gonna offer you, because I think that's a good opportunity for you maybe to cash in on something. But if you don't want to, anyways, on to my next guy. My guy here, the trade for. Which was
this is interesting.
Which what you just said, Mike Evans for Ezekiel Elliott. I'm actually trading for Mike Evans. I know Mike Evans has,
but just clarify what we just talked about. You do believe that Zeke is way more valuable than Mike Evans,
absolutely.
Right? Let's just get that
100%.
out of the way.
Zeke is more valuable than Mike Evans. Mike Evans' value is nowhere near Ezekiel Elliott's. I think Mike Evans' value is still high, but let me tell you why. I think Mike Evans is a top 15 receiver. Maybe not this year, but he has been on the list of being a top.
Talent-wise, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously Mike doesn't look like himself this year. He's been hurt with injury. He has a new quarterback. He had 2 points last week. And, Mike has been very inconsistent. He's been up and down. He's been hurt. He's been only getting 2 yards, but 2 touchdowns. He's kind of up and down. Like, why is he not getting these targets that you wanted?
Yeah.
I think Mike Evans will get these targets. Why? Because the field is going to open up for Tom. Purely because Chris Godwin is back. And Tom loves, obviously, that slot receiver. And Mike Evans is going to get those deep down the field passes, which we've seen Tom taking the chances, which is a surprise. So, obviously, Mike right now is averaging 6 targets per game, which is not where you want it to be. I think that would actually go up. Personally, in the next couple of weeks, I think his schedule during the playoffs is pretty good against Minnesota, Atlanta, and then Detroit. I think there's a great playoff opportunity to have a great opportunity to trade for Mike Evans now, to stash him away. To stash him away for the playoffs. Obviously, like maybe you can trade somebody on the low. Maybe you can trade somebody. I'm trying to think of somebody I can trade. Maybe you can trade a Terry McLaurin or I think that's because Terry's been up and down. That quarterback situation there is not where you want to be. The Washington Redskins.
So you'd rather have Terry, or you'd rather have Mike? Than Terry?
Look, I think I can do a package maybe that includes Terry for Mike and a couple other pieces. I'm not doing a straight swap. I think that's the evaluation that I'm going for.
Okay.
I just think there's a perfect opportunity to get Mike Evans right now. Because Godwin's out, like I said, the field's going to open up. He will get more targets because he won't be double team as you think. Maybe Chris Godwin will get the double team. I just see a great. I see a great opportunity right now for Mike Evans.
I like it, and I'm going to take you to a very similar situation as Zeke, Davante Adams. Okay, I see again. We always look at buy low scenarios. There's not a trade that we will tell you to trade for that's not a buy low candidate. Okay? Davante Adams, coming back from the injury, had just 12 points last week against Tampa Bay. Here's the good thing. The targets were there. 10 targets. He caught 6 of those targets, but 10 targets for Davante Adams, that's actually low.
Wow.
He's going to have more targets every game. He's the type of wide receiver that averages anywhere from 12 to 15 targets a game. A lot of this was the game script. Aaron Rodgers and Davante were not on the same page, and you can tell there was a little bit of rust there.
Yeah.
Okay? But here's the good news. The targets were there, and Davante's already had his bye week. And for me, at this point of the season, players who have already had their bye week are very valuable to me. Because if I'm in a 2-4, or what would you be now? Yeah, you would be 2-4. If I'm in a 3-3, if I'm in a 1-5, players who have already had their bye, I am looking for those guys.
Yeah.
Because I really need to plug my stars in. I cannot be sitting my stars right now. Davante Adams is an elite talent. This will probably be his worst game for the rest of the year. I don't think he has a game that's worse than this. Obviously, when he got injured, he had that low, below 7-point game. But from this point onwards, I don't think he will have a game that is worse than 12 points. So, trade for Davante Adams. I believe it's a great buy low candidate. Let's now talk about trade away targets. And we don't need to spend too much time on my first one because we already talked about it. Kenyan Drake.
Drizzy.
We've already talked about this, but here's the main thought behind it. I don't believe that this one game changes the way I view Kenyan Drake. Let me ask you, Kenyan Drake owner, be honest with yourself right now. Be very honest with yourself. How do you feel about starting Kenyan Drake next week? I know in the chats, I know when you're texting people about trades, bro, I'm not worried about Kenyan Drake. Bro, Kenyan Drake popped off. Of course I can start him with confidence. I know what you're really feeling. I've been there before. I know you're worried, okay? The game script, again, I believe was the biggest reason he had the game he had. Yeah. So I don't want to spend too much on it, but I am looking to sell high on Kenyan Drake. And I don't think I'm alone. I genuinely think if you're sitting out there and you have Kenyan Drake, you feel the same.
That's right.
Let's say someone offers you Josh Jacobs. Let's say someone offers you Todd Gurley. Let's say someone offers you Clyde. All these players, I am taking over Kenyan Drake.
Wow. You were saying all these names. I was like, yeah, I'm taking all those players, but like equal evaluation. I'm thinking like Miles Gaskin. I'm thinking David Johnson.
You would rather have Miles?
No, I would rather have Kenyan Drake over Miles Gaskin just purely because of his opportunity. Okay. But I think right now I'll probably have David Johnson over Kenyan Drake.
That's an interesting one because we talked about this last week. I do not feel excited starting David Johnson at any point. So they're in a very similar place.
Yeah. That's all right. I'll continue with mine. Wow, once again, trade away. Huge controversy here. We love it.
A lot of controversy here.
But my guy this week is Aaron Jones. And let me tell you why. Aaron Jones, look, we saw the struggle last game. Yeah, the struggle last game was against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And what I took away from that game was the snap counts. Okay. This was the first time we saw all three backs being used in a very evenly distributed game. Aaron Jones had 36 snaps. Okay,
36 snaps. Okay, that's pretty. Sounds good.
Yeah. Williams. I'm forgetting his first name.
Yeah.
Jamal Williams.
Yep.
32 snaps.
Oh.
Okay.
That's not good.
That's basically 50-50 from those guys. And then A.J. Dillon came in with 10. Obviously, this game plan probably switched because they were down by a lot. And maybe they're like, you know what? They probably rested Aaron Jones. Let's not risk it anymore.
Yeah.
Let's kind of give it this opportunity. But I think if I'm an Aaron Jones owner, I'm very concerned because we saw Jamal Williams before the bye against that Atlanta team. Jamal was getting some snaps. He was getting some opportunity.
Yeah.
And this is what we were scared of in the beginning of the season, before the season started, drafting Aaron Jones. And I think if you're an Aaron Jones owner, I'm panicking. If I have him, I'm trying to sell him. I think a good opportunity right now for Aaron Jones owners is to trade maybe for Ezekiel. And I think that's a pretty. Look, I don't think that's a fair evaluation, but I don't think you can do a 1-1. I think Zeke has a lot more value, and if your Zeke owner is telling you that he has a lot more value than Aaron Jones, he's right. I would think that you probably can do a package, maybe Aaron Jones, throw in somebody small, get Zeke and somebody small again. You know, I like to do packages. I like that. I
don't think our league has almost ever done a straight 1-for-1.
No. And if it was just something.
I'm just going to put my 2 cents in there right quick.
Mm-hmm.
I personally would not be panicking if I owned Aaron Jones.
I just don't like.
But
yeah,
I get it.
Yeah, I think once again this is a great opportunity maybe for you, like I said, to get Zeke. Like the Zeke owners are panicking, and maybe you're panicking.
I like that.
I just don't like that. I don't like that he is splitting carries in any way. Period.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be a top back right now. Zeke is the top back. He's not splitting carries at all. Obviously,
Tony's got some, but that was mainly because of
the fumbles.
So
yeah, exactly.
You're right.
But
okay,
have a look, boys. Have a look. Let me know.
All right. Well, let's get on to my last trade away target, and I don't think I need to explain this one too much either. Michael Gallup.
Wow.
Look, I could sit here and tell you stats all day about Michael Gallup and why it doesn't look great, but if you own Michael Gallup, you are very aware of how frustrating it is to own him. You drafted him probably to be a wide receiver 2, maybe a wide receiver 3 in fantasy this year, and a lot of people probably told you that that was safe.
Yeah.
Now, the year has not gone the way you wanted it to as a Michael Gallup owner. And we had the thought, hey, Andy Dalton, won't be too much drop-off. Maybe Michael Gallup will be that guy.
Yeah.
Maybe, certain quarterbacks like certain people. And I'm not overreacting after one game because we have seen the body of work from Michael Gallup in this offense. Here's the thing, and I know this might be controversial. The only wide receiver in Dallas I actually want on my team is CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
The only wide receiver I want on my team.
I agree.
I'm not telling you that CeeDee Lamb is more valuable than Amari Cooper because he's not. But I'm not willing to give up the value that someone would want for Amari Cooper. I might be willing to give up the value for a CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb, you could tell in that offense, he is a part of the game plan. They are trying to get CeeDee in space and let him go after the catch because he is elite at doing that. And even as a rookie, he's elite after the catch. For me, I think they know that. The coaching staff knows that CeeDee is the guy that they want to get the ball to. So I just personally don't want any part of Michael Gallup, and I don't want any part of Amari Cooper either. If someone sends me a trade and it involves Cooper, I'm not excited about it personally. But if someone sends me a trade and the value's a little bit different and they send me CeeDee Lamb for a lower player on my team, I'm interested. So all that being said, it might be a sell Cooper and Gallup, but mainly I'm focusing on Michael Gallup to trade away.
Yeah. Get him off your team. I don't like him either anymore. I mean, a lot of talks coming into the season, obviously. Things have changed.
Yeah.
But I'll continue with mine and finish it off here. My last trade away guy is Jamison Crowder. Look, he's been doing great. He's been doing good when he's been on the field. He's been getting his targets. He's been getting the opportunity to play. 1, 2, like I said, he's just been getting a lot of opportunity. Even with the QB changes, Joe Flacco, Sam Darnold, they're still targeting Jamison Crowder because he's the most reliable receiver on that team.
Yeah.
But I think it's time that we have to realize what team that he's on, and that's the Jets.
That's pitiful. I mean, it's absolutely pitiful.
That's right.
To perform like that.
You don't want anyone on the Jets offense at all to be performing on your team and relying on this guy to be putting up any sort of. I don't care if he gets 20 points. Maybe I would. I wouldn't. I don't care how well he's doing. I think we really need to look at the team that he's on because once again, Le'Veon Bell is gone, and Jamison Crowder is the only threat on that team. And they're rebuild mode, I think.
You know what? I was about to tell you isn't that great that they're bad because they will need to throw to Jamison Crowder? But I think the argument goes both ways because you could say that, but you could also say, who in the world is the defense focusing on other than Jamison Crowder now?
That's right? Exactly.
That could be a really bad thing. So I see where you're going with this.
And I think you can trade him because his value is, I think he's pretty high. I think he's in the top 25 receivers right now in fantasy. You can get somebody a little bit of value or that's on a better team. I think that's the biggest that's the biggest takeaway here. I'm trading Jamison Crowder for somebody that's just on a better team. Period.
Yep.
And
I like it.
The people that I'm thinking of is like T. Higgins, maybe a Davante Parker, maybe, because obviously, Parker hasn't been very consistent. A DJ Chalk hasn't been very consistent. But I would still rather have those guys over Jamison Crowder.
Yeah. No, I'm with you there. I think I was sent in a trade with Crowder in it today, and I'm just not excited about it, to be honest. So
yeah.
Okay, we are going to do a risk taker trade. We do this every week. We like to take risks in fantasy sometimes, and sometimes it pays off. But obviously, this guy is a massive risk.
Yeah.
This name is probably a disappointment for you to hear it. But, Docky, let's take less than a minute and make our argument why J.K. Dobbins is a risk taker this week. Go.
That's right. Look, Mark Andrews is hurt. Obviously, J.K. Dobbins is the next guy up. And
Ingram.
Mark Ingram, sorry. Yeah, Mark Ingram is hurt. J.K. Dobbins is the next guy up. There is a lot of opportunity for J.K. Dobbins if Mark doesn't play. Obviously, there's a lot of talk that Mark is going to play after the bye week and this injury is not as bad. I think it's opposite. I think this injury is bad. He's going to be out 2 to 4 weeks. And J.K., like I said, is the next guy up. Good opportunity for him.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to give you 10 seconds as to why that offense should be the best rushing offense. Maybe they'll figure it out. And if they do and you got JK on your team, then you traded for nothing to get him.
Exactly.
That is our trade for and trade away targets of the week. Don't miss our next episode, okay? We are going to give you week 7 start sit advice and Hail Mary matchups of the week. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at FantasyLand Football so you don't miss our next giveaway announcement. It is coming this week.
That's right.
We are excited about it. And hey, if you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube, you should. It's honestly, we love our YouTube. We're trying to improve it every single week with cool new things. We have, maybe potentially a studio coming in the next month or 2 or whatever it might look like. But make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube so you don't miss the next video. But hey, thank you so much for listening. We're excited for week 7 football. Thursday night football is on tomorrow night. Are the Giants going to get the dub?
Absolutely. I'm believing. We're doing this for Say. We love you, Say. I hope you're doing well. Speedy recovery.
What you say? Okay. Thank you so much for listening, guys. We appreciate all of you. We'll see you on the next one. As always, see you there.
See you there.
Hey, yeah, you, the one listening to this podcast, you made a good decision today. Keep making those good decisions. You know what? Go ahead and do a little dance right now, like no one's watching. 'Cause you deserve it.